Okay, does anybody have any revisions for the agenda? Okay, if not, we would like a motion, please.
Move approval.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Item number 4 on our agenda is to approve the resolution 0728-2025A, calling for a public hearing on proposed tax abatement for new residential project at 1955 Bud Road in Windom, Minnesota 56101. May we start with a motion for this resolution?
I move the resolution forward.
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you. Anybody have any questions on this project before we vote? Okay, as always, it's just wonderful to see construction taking place in our community. All right, well, this is a resolution, so it is a roll call vote, and we will start at the left of the table with Matt.
Yes.
Brianne.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Angie.
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Resolution passes. And then item number 5, of course, is to approve the notice of public hearing for the said tax abatement at 1955 Bud Road in Windom. All the documentation is in the packet for all of this, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier. May we again start with a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on this? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. All right, more construction in Windom. Item number 6, we are going to look at the milk and dairy quote for this next year. Mrs. Anderson.
I'm actually going to take this one.
Okay.
We received one quote from Prairie Farms. The cost just went up slightly compared to last year. So, for example, a carton of milk is 31 cents this year. Last year it was 28 cents. So, comparable to last year's quote, and it's the only quote we received. Hence declined to bid our project. So, good thing we have Prairie Farms.
Okay, would anyone like to move this forward? Thank you. Again, there's a nice documentation in the board packet. Does anybody have anything they need clarification on? Okay, if not, all in favor of receiving this quote, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Next is we are going to approve the handbook, or we're going to vote on approving the handbook that was presented at the July 14 board meeting. It again is included in the board packet, but it is the changes that they walked through, the principals talked us through, and Mr. Joyce talked through at the July 14 meeting. Would anyone like to bring that forward? Okay, great. Has anybody seen anything that they'd like some clarification on or have any questions for Mr. Joyce?
I would. It's not really the question in the handbook. It's more, how do we handle absences and tardies? How do we let the parents know instead of, oh, I'm sorry, if they talk to you about, say, vacations or whatever, and they've had too many? How do we handle that with the parents? Do we let them know when they get like 5 or, to get them so that way they get on top of their kids? That's the only question.
So a student who has tardies up to 3, we just talk to the student and we say, hey, first, second, we actually don't even talk to them until their 3rd. And we say, hey, you've got 3 tardies. And we're talking high school right now. And then at their 4th tardy, it's a detention, and they've got to serve that detention. So that's where, and oftentimes with the high school, we're not communicating with the parents at that point, unless it becomes a more severe issue where there's multiple, but we're trying to train these kids to be adults, and they've got to take care of getting to class on time. So unless it becomes excessive, we're typically not communicating home with the families, or if there's a barrier to serving that detention, then we'll make a call home to the parents. But they can see all of that documentation, Infinite Campus as well. When it comes to absences, when a student has full day absences, we send home letters once they get to 5 absences. Okay, and we say, hey, just so you know, your student has 5 absences this quarter. Once it gets to about 10 absences, we're going to have that family in for an attendance conversation, or we'll do an attendance contract, because we're trying to avoid the maximum absence rule. Now, we're talking excused absences there. If it's unexcused absences, Sonia's calling the family immediately. Like, hey, you're marked absent. We don't know why. Why is your student gone today? So that point of contact is made instantly for an unexcused absence if we don't know where the student is and they're just not in school. So that's the first point of command, is Sonia making that phone call or Marcia making that phone call. And we're trying to track down, where is that student, okay? If we find out that they just skipped or something like that, then that communication is made home so that the parent knows, hey, the student skipped, why aren't they in school? They've got to make up that time through detention, whatever it may be, to make that time up. But that's kind of the communication is if it's an unexcused absence, we're calling home right away because we don't know why they're gone and no parent called. If it's excused absences, we have thresholds in place, and we send letters home, we make parent calls, we set up a meeting to have an attendance contract meeting, and if we get to the point where they need to appeal for credit, we have the parent involved in that part as well. So there's kind of different thresholds at 5, 10, and then we're trying to avoid that 18 per semester to avoid that situation where we have to deny credit for a class. So if we called every parent for every absence every day, that's all we would do. Yeah, we wouldn't be teaching. And so that's, I don't know, hopefully that answered your question, but and for every detention too, we're not calling a parent for every detention. We try to call as many as we can, but when it comes to serving a tardy detention and things like that, we're trying to train these students to get to class on time, and their job is to serve that detention. And if it's carried over and they haven't served that for a while, and we get to the Saturday school roster or something like that, we're making a phone call to all the families at that point. And we do those monthly. So at a minimum, every month they're contacted about that, but we try to avoid getting to that point by the communication in school. And that's why the attendance coordinator is so vital, is making those contacts. And part of our attendance coordinator's job is to make those contacts home. That's why they're such an important part of the process, is making those phone calls home to be proactive on preventing those absences.
And also with Infinite Campus, if parents are signed up for the parent portal, they know immediately if their child is marked tardy or if they're absent. I know from experience. When my daughter has been absent, I get a text right away, and then I remember that I need to let the office know why she's absent. So it's a nice feature with Infinite Campus, that it communicates really quickly with the parents. So that's another thing that's been added recently.
Yep. And a couple of years ago, we had our office cell phone, because a lot of parents won't call, but they'll text. It's just trying to find that every person's different now and how you communicate, which it doesn't make it easy in the office. In the old days, it was send a note in, and that's just what everybody did. And there is not there's not anything that everybody does anymore. Some text, some email, some call, some come in and tell you, some send a note, and you got to kind of cater to everybody to get the information. So we try to make it very easy to do, but in the process of that, sometimes we allow complacency as well. So, but we are, when it's unexcused absences, that day we're making contact home. Because we don't know if a teacher marks a kid absent and we haven't received a communication from a parent, we're calling that family that day to figure out, hey, where's your son or daughter? Because they're being marked absent and we don't know why. So are they here? What's going on? So we're having that contact. If it's an excused absence, there's just thresholds that we're going to follow to prevent them from missing an excessive amount of class, so we don't have to deny credit. Tardies, it depends how excessive it gets. If we get students, our students average, like the worst classes, we're averaging just over 4, and that's the average. So there's some more extreme ones, but most cases a student might get to 4 tardies, and then they have to serve 1 detention, and that usually curbs it for, again, 90% of the kids. So, yep.
Any other handbook questions? Okay. If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right, motion passes. We have a new handbook. Item number 8, kind of a fun one. We get to declare 72 MacBooks as surplus. Mrs. Frank, will you tell us more?
Since our teachers have received new MacBooks this summer, we have 72 surplus devices to sell to the public. The price will be $330, which includes sales tax, and the sale will take place on August 13th from 8 to noon in the middle high school lobby. Like in the past, the sale will be a first-come, first-served basis and cash only. We will advertise this in the Citizen as well as on the school's social media platforms. Any questions about that?
August 13 at 8. What is the 13th? What day of the week is that? Wednesday. Okay. All right. That's exciting. First, can we start with a motion on this, please?
I move approval.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Any clarifications on this?
Just one. Do we, if they don't sell, do we get to,
There's a reseller that we can sell them to for the price that we listed here, $330. However, you know, if we have the opportunity to get devices out to the public in Windom, we'll do that. So we'd rather sell to the Windom community than to the reseller, but any that are left over, we will do so.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same. Motion passes. All right. Hopefully we get a good turnout. I think that's a cool thing that we get to do for the community. Okay. Item number 9 is the superintendent evaluation summary, which I'm going to read. But thank you all for doing a comprehensive job when we did this summary for Jamie. I think I had about 50 comments that we got to summarize. And like we were talking, this was where AI came in really helpful, like categorizing these and some cohesive thoughts because there was just, we had a lot to say about a job well done. So I hope this summarizes well what everybody was thinking, but as part of the recent annual evaluation, the Windom Area School Board is proud to share a summary of Superintendent Jamie Frank's 3rd year leading the district. Jamie earned top marks in every category, and there were 10 categories. The board noted her trustworthy, proactive leadership and transparent communication. They consistently feel informed and confident in decision-making because of her clear and timely updates. They recognize Jamie's close collaboration with staff, her ability to empower the team, and the strong relationship she builds throughout the district. The board also appreciates her responsiveness to parents and community members, noting her ongoing efforts to strengthen connections between the school, families, and the wider community. Jamie has demonstrated strong financial leadership and continues to grow and refine her skills with careful planning, smooth negotiations, and a steady focus on fiscal responsibility. The board appreciates her high integrity and clear vision centered on student success. The board is grateful for her strong leadership and looks forward to supporting her continued growth and new goals for the district's future. AKA, she did a fabulous job again this year. Scored well in every category. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to add. We did, just so everyone knows, we have a closed session after the last board meeting, and we were all able to express our individual comments. But thank you for a job well done. Maybe for Jamie's sake, we'll keep moving so she doesn't get too embarrassed. Okay, so item number 10 is to review the wellness policy number 533. This is for information only. Mrs. Frank.
Okay, this is actually a policy that we gave to the food service director and the wellness committee. So this one was not authored by our policy committee, although they have read through it and made some minor corrections to it. But let's do a first read tonight. So as you can see, this policy hasn't been revised since 2017, so it was time to take a peek at this. All of the changes here are in red, but the purpose of this policy is to set forth methods that promote and protect students' health, well-being, and ability to learn by supporting healthy eating and physical activity. The goal is to promote the development of student skills in making lifelong healthy choices. So this is going to be all about eating healthy foods and the like. Okay, so if we scroll down until you find the first red sentence, Holly, thank you. Perfect. So there's a change in number 8 there. There are no vending machines with pop for students to access. This has been the rule for years. It's now in the policy. All right, number 9 just talks about the meal charge policy 714 will be used to establish consistent meal account procedures for Windom area schools. Procedures for unpaid balances of family meal accounts are addressed in that policy. With the free meals going on right now, we don't have parents paying in for the meals. They do, however, pay for seconds, or if a student wants an a la carte item, the parents do pay for that. So that does come into play a little bit. All right, if we go to section B, number 5, here it is noted that the application for educational benefits are made available to all households at the beginning of the school year and on our website on the homepage under the food service tab. Also in the school newsletter, the online student recording system, and the class orientations prior to the year. So the application for educational benefits is the form that parents fill out to qualify for free or reduced price lunch. And remember, those applications are not only for free and reduced price lunch, they also come into play when we're looking at compensatory funding, some of the athletic fees, or even it came into play when our football program tried to play a class down. They look at our free and reduced price lunch. So it is really important that parents fill out the application for educational benefits. It's kept confidential, but we are able to use it for many different programs and funding sources. So just a fun little side note there. All right, number 8, it looks like they added the USDA nutrition guidelines. Of course, we follow those. Number 10, food and beverages are sold during the day on campus or through the a la carte line during lunchtime. Number 11, marketing of unhealthy brands of food may be limited. This could include educational materials and school publications and fundraising. Section C, number 1. Let's see, vending foods are available. They should include a variety of choices of nutritious foods such as fruits and vegetables and whole grains, non-fat dairy foods, and smart snacks that are approved. This will include the school store selling those foods. Number 2 talks about birthdays. Classroom birthday celebrations will be encouraged to use healthy choices, including healthy snack options and physical activity opportunities. Number 4, no competitive food or beverages may be sold during the school day. Number 5, encourage healthy food and drink options served to the students at functions such as sports, plays, music celebrations, other celebrations to encourage healthy choices when on campus. Okay, let's go to section D, number 1B. Here they reference a school garden. Remember, at the elementary school, we still have those raised flower beds, and they are growing things like crazy. I believe I saw that they harvested a bunch of radishes just last week. So if you're ever on a walk, go ahead and look at those gardens because they do a nice job of keeping them watered and weeded and then harvest them when it's time. And then also the growing hydroponic labs are set up near Betsy Harwood's room, and we grow all kinds of produce in there as well. All right, and then of course those food items are used during our summer lunch program. So they're used in the cafeteria at the elementary school to feed the students during the summer program. Okay, number 4, it just references the smart snack guidelines again, non-caffeinated beverages. Section E, number 2, they just traded out Minnesota academic standards and physical education for the old version of the health and physical education standards. Section F, number 3, referring to a healthy snack plan letter that will be provided to students or parents at the beginning of each school year. And that is all for the changes to policy 533. Any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Frank. And that is in your board packet, so you may read through that. And of course, it'll be in our next packet as well, and we will take action on it at our next meeting. Item number 11, we are going to take a look at the post-election survey results. Mrs. Frank.
On May 13th, the district had a referendum called the Arts and Athletics referendum. It failed by 46 votes. We had 810 yes votes and 856 no votes. When the referendum failed, the board decided that we would like to get some information from the public as to why they voted yes and why they voted no, so that we can make an informed decision going forward. So the survey results, or the survey, was drafted, reviewed by the board, and sent to all of the voters who voted in that referendum to gather their thoughts and information regarding the election. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the feedback. We had 290 people respond to this survey. There were 1,666 voters overall. Okay, so keep that in mind. Question number 1 was, if you voted yes, please tell us why you voted yes. So the number 1 choice here was, let's see, number 1 was, I want to make Windom attractive to families so that they want to live, work, and raise their children here. The second most popular choice was, I'm in full support of this project. So just overall, full support. And the third choice was, improve facilities and programming at school will benefit Windom's economic growth. And so the theme that we saw here is that they were really looking at the bigger picture, like how do we grow Windom through this school project? And so we learned that people definitely were thinking about Windom as a whole and not necessarily only the school facility. Okay, question 2 was just a comment box. That's why we're skipping to question 3. Question 3 was, if you voted no, tell us why you voted no and check all of the boxes that apply. So the most popular reason was the proposed property tax increase was too high for me. The second most popular choice was the project cost too much. And the third most popular choice was, I'm fearful of other tax increases. In the comments, they noted that some of the things that they're concerned about are the streets and other projects that might be coming, such as the pool, and just other uncertainties, especially at the national level. Okay, number 5, knowing that the facilities needs remain, how do you suggest the board move forward? Now notice that do not proceed with the project was a choice, but it wasn't the most popular choice. It was actually toward the bottom. The most popular choice was reduce the cost and scope of the project. Okay, go ahead and do that is the advice they're giving us. And then the next popular choice is spend more time educating the community and bring it back to the voters as previously presented. So there was 92 people that said, leave the project as is and take it back to the voters. The third most popular choice was other, and then there's all kinds of reasons beyond that. So that is why that is the advice that people are giving the board. Question number 6, they were asked to prioritize the parts of the project so that the board knew which parts of the project were most important to our voters. The Fine Arts Center was the most popular choice, followed by football and soccer fields. Then the wrestling room and gymnastics room, followed by a locker room remodel, followed by 7th and 8th grade baseball on campus, and then 7th and 8th grade softball on campus. And then we're getting down to the least popular, which are varsity and JV baseball on campus and varsity and JV softball on campus. Question number 8 was, where did you find the information to make an informed decision? This is really helpful to us because we know which modes of communication to use and where people are getting their information. So the citizen was actually number one, followed by word of mouth, and that was followed by the arts and athletic brochure that was mailed out to everyone. Question number 9 is, are you a parent of a student in Windom? The majority of the people here were not parents. In fact, 213 were not parents and 63 people were parents of a student in Windom schools. Question number 10 is, what was your age? The 66 plus group represented the survey really well, with a total of 129 people who were in that age group. You can see that on your screen as well. Question number 11 was, select all that describe you. I own a house, so 263 people own a house. 11 people rent. 21 people own a business in town. 15 own a commercial property, and 61 own ag land in the district. So a summary of the comments. There were lots of opportunity for comments within this survey too, so we read through every comment looking for patterns and commonalities. If a comment was mentioned or if a theme was mentioned more than 5 times, it made this list. If it was just somebody's thought that wasn't a commonality, it did not make the list. So a summary of the comments, many people commented that it was too expensive. They want us to focus on academics. The streets are in poor condition. Your facilities are good enough. Island Park is a bad investment because it keeps flooding. The city complex can be used for softball and baseball. There were questions about using the bark for the Fine Arts Center. Then there were comments about the pool being a need and a daycare being needed in our community. There was advice about dropping the price and putting it right back on the ballot, and then also comments around how the city of Windom needs to grow. So that is a summary of the survey results that we received back after the referendum on May 13th.
Thank you for putting that together. That's a really good summary. There was a lot of comments, and the board is really, really, really glad that as many people as did took that survey so that we can start to make an informed decision on what our next steps are. So, yeah, I think that was a great summary. There was a lot of comments and a lot of people giving some good advice. So, thank you. Okay, item number 12. We are going to review the estimated cash flow report for this next calendar year for 2026, which is our 25-26 school year. Mrs. Anderson.
All right, so you guys get this cash flow report 3 times per year, and this one is for the first time you'll be seeing it for our new fiscal year. Just want to kind of point out a few things. This report only reflects Fund 1, 2, 4, 8, and 21. It does not show anything for our debt service. And then included in here, you can see our estimated receipts, which include our property taxes, state aids, other receipts that we get, and disbursements, including our payroll and other bills that we have to pay. I just want to remind you that this is just an estimate, and we review it every month after we do our bank rec. And this can change throughout the year. If Peggy and I could predict the cash flow, we wouldn't be doing this job. We're estimating it to start at 8.6 million, and then at the end of the year, we're predicting it to be at 8.3. I know it's a decrease, but when we approved our budget, we knew we were going to have a decline in enrollment, which would cause us to kind of dip into our cash. So we're stable. We knew this was coming, so don't be alarmed. Just wanted to point that out because it's always scary seeing our number drop. The reason why we do this cash flow is to see if we have any concerns or problems. Like I said, at this time, we feel our cash is adequate. And we will be able to meet all of our obligations such as payroll and paying our bills. And this also shows that we do not need to take out any aid anticipation certificates. You probably saw that in the board packet. The last time we had to do that was in 2011. So that is excellent. And for those who don't know, an aid anticipation certificate is where you borrow against your future income, but with that, you always have to pay interest. We don't want to do that, so it's always good to have good cash. So that is it, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
I'd also like to just add that you'll see on the bottom on that chart there that we have of that $8.6 million we've invested 4.5, and then those come to fruition or come due in a stair-step motion, so that if we ever do need to have more cash on hand for whatever reason, we'll just we have a plan to access the revenue.
Okay, well, I think Dave Ramsey would be happy. We have to spend $22 million a year, and we have $8 million as an ending balance. That means like close to 35%. So we're good for like a quarter at least of the year. So as our auditors say when they come, we have a very healthy fund balance and a little dip that happens with changing enrollment. So thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Well done. Okay, that was our last item for the board this evening. Meeting is adjourned.